What about instrument integration? Were you also involved with instrument integration?
Yes, so I have never worked with instrument integration. I have worked on interfaces and lot management workflow, sample management workflow. So these kind of things I have worked on, crystal boards as well. But I have never worked with instrument integration as well. So that was one of the focus areas that I saw in the syllabus. So that was interesting. Yes.
Okay, wonderful. Fine, then we have already spent 20 minutes, so let us quickly start our sessions. Uh, can we start the recording, please, madam?
Yes, sir, started. You can start.
Okay, great. I'm sharing my screen. Please let me know if the screen is visible to all. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, Pranit.
Yes. Yes, I can see
So
as well.
today we will see how the LIMS is installed, and after installation, which are the basic configurations that user is supposed to, as an IT administrator, you are supposed to configure. Okay, so let us go step by step. A little background about Labware LIMS. So Labware LIMS, it is owned by Labware Incorporation USA. So it's a US product, US based product, and widely used not only in USA but in across the world, especially Europe and in India. A little bit in Middle East, but yes, they have majority of their clients in USA and Europe. Okay, in India, only the big shots like the Sun Pharma, Cipla, Lupin, Vocart, only few organizations they are the users of Labware LIMS. Others they are using, some are using Labvantage, others are using Star LIMS. So basically, Labware LIMS is afforded by only the bigger organizations. Okay, so when anybody asks you what is this product, so it is an enterprise application. It is an enterprise software, and it is client server based application. So when we say client server based application, the application is usually installed on the server, and you need a client system, you need another PC, laptop, desktop in order to access the application. It is also web based application, which means you can also access this application using web browsers. Okay, so it's a web based application, it's a client server based application, it is an enterprise solution, it is an enterprise application. It is completely fully GXP compliant application. Someone from our team is from validation background.
Yes, it's me.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot your name.
Jaydeep.
Yes, Jay.
Jay.
So what is the meaning when we say the application is completely GXP compliant, fully GXP compliant? When can we say a system is fully GXP compliant? Can you give me some
When
background?
when it fulfills all the electronic record and signature requirements and
Yes.
auditable compatibility, and
Mhm.
also yeah, these are the major requirements. Apart from that, and yeah, all everything should be captured in electronic record and signature. All the user capabilities, like the user can only, everything should be traceable and
Traceable, correct.
also
So when we say
traceable and trackable.
right from
Is it
application
same as the
establishment,
game? Excuse me.
Yeah.
Is it same as GMP? Because I have heard some GMP, good manufacturing practices, or 31 CFR Part 11 that
Yes.
widely used in pharmaceutical companies. So what he said, electronic signatures, audit trails, etc., is the
Okay.
same term GXP?
So there is GMP, which stands for good manufacturing practice. There is GLP, which stands for good laboratory practices. Okay. So this
Right.
GXP, it covers both. Okay. So when it comes
Okay.
to software applications, so when it comes to software applications, there are some rules, there are some policies defined which should ensure that this is covered under GXP. The application is, it complies with all the requirements of the GMP or GLP. And what are these requirements? The most basic is you can trace, you can track each and every activity which is being done in the application, which is being processed in the background. Each and every activity you can track. There is an history, there is a log of each and every activity, and you can, anytime you want, you can open the log and you can verify whether the activity is done by any user from front end or any activity is done by the system itself in the background, whether the application was installed right from installation till the application is live in the environment. Okay, you can track each and every, you should have a record of each and every activity. आप इंस्टॉल करते हो, इंस्टॉलेशन का सारा प्रूफ डॉक्यूमेंट करते हैं. You take screenshot of installation steps and then you document it. You approve this document. Whatever activity is going on, there is a history maintained in the application. There is audit log. We call it audit log. There is a log maintained of each and every process, each and every activity performed. Yeah. Then this particular application becomes a GXP compliant application. Tomorrow or after say 1 year or even after 5 years, if you want to track, if you want to log of some activity which was done 5 years back, you can open the audit log history and you can immediately find out all this. You can track each and every activity that was performed any number of years before. If your application is able to provide this type of track, then that application will become GXP compliant application. Okay. Now the labware LIMS, it also allows to customize its each and every module. Now there are multiple modules, lot management, calibration, the stability module. As per your organization, you can easily customize all these modules. Okay, you can customize the workflow, you can customize each and every screen. Yeah, so that's the benefit of labware LIMS. Next, you can configure custom dashboards. They have a very unique facility, unique utility called as visual workflow. And this visual workflow allows you to create dashboards. And you can assign dashboard to individual user or say group of users. Yep. Labware LIMS also allows to interface or to integrate with different types of instruments and also other applications. You can connect with SAP. You can connect with any other ERP application. Yeah, it is so simple. It is so easy to integrate with instruments and other applications in Labware LIMS. When it comes to other applications, it is not as simple. Integration is a very complex activity, but integration or interfacing with Labware LIMS is a very simple task. It's a very simple activity. Yep. And Labware LIMS can read different types of data. It can read a CSV file, it can read XML data, it can read normal text files, or simply it can read a PDF document. So basically what happens is in laboratories, there are a lot of reports generated in the form of PDF. This PDF you can dump into labware application and it will read the required results from these PDF documents. Okay. Now, if you want to install labware LIMS, what are the prerequisites which should be present? We should be very clear what prerequisites should be first available before you start the installation process. Now, for installation on any organization, you need at least 3 servers. LIMS is a combination of application, database, and the web server. Application server holds all the configurations. Database stores all the data, even the configurations which is on the application server, that is also stored in the database. And finally, the web server. Why do we need a web server? If you want to access the application using web browser over Chrome or over Firefox or Internet Explorer, then you need a web server. If the web server is up and running, then you can access the application using any web browser. Okay, so these 3 servers are required. And what are the requirements of these 3 servers? First, the operating system has to be Windows Server 2012 or higher for all these 3 servers, application, DB, as well as web server. Guys, if you find that I am going a little bit faster, please tell me. Please stop me and I can repeat again and again. I hope I'm audible.
Praveen, I have one question. Sorry, cut you off.
Yes, that I would welcome
So
everyone
when
to
you
please
say
stop me.
Windows Server version,
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
when we say Windows version 2012, does it mean it's not compatible with Windows 10 version?
It is absolutely compatible with Windows 10. In fact, the system which you are looking at right now is a Windows 10 system, and I have installed application as well as database as well as the web into only one system, and this system is Windows 10 system. Here, if we'll see, this is nothing but a Windows 10 system. That is the beauty of labware LIMS. Although we say that, see, this is what is recommended by the labware. They have recommended that if you want to install in your organization, the server has to be 2012 or above. Why they recommend this is because, see, in my system, I am the only one user who's going to access the application. But in organization, multiple users will be accessing. So whether Windows 10 system will support multiple users or not, it is not, there is no guarantee. Yeah. So that is the reason they say that this prerequisite should be available. These requisites should be satisfied if you want to configure LIMS, if you want to install LIMS for your organization where multiple users, more than 20, more than 100 users can access from this one single environment. Okay. Then .NET framework, Microsoft .NET framework should be at least 4.5 or above in all the 3 servers. VC++ redistributable
Praveen?
should be also present. Yes, tell me.
I have one doubt. So, apart from these SQL databases and all, we can use any database for the LIMS operations and all, and
Yeah.
the specified only databases is required.
So basically, labware supports SQL Server. Besides SQL Server, they support Oracle, and I have heard that they also support MongoDB. But as per their white paper, the paper, the technical document which is published by labware,
Mm-hmm.
in that
Okay.
they mention only SQL Server and Oracle.
Okay.
Yeah. So besides this, even MySQL, some organizations I've heard they are using, and MongoDB also I have seen that people are using for LabWare LIMS, but it is not published in any of the LabWare white paper.
Thank you.
Okay. So VC++ redistributable has to be 2017 or above. This is not required in database, only application and web. And then for designing Crystal report, you can have Crystal report software, or otherwise if all the reports are ready, then this Crystal report software application is not required. This is installed only on the application server. You can have a separate dedicated application server for Crystal report, or you can use the same application server. SQL Server or SQL Express, again 2012 or above. This is widely used and most supported with LabWare LIMS. Even I prefer SQL Server. See, I have worked with Oracle, I have worked with Microsoft Access, I have worked with Oracle SQL Server. I have worked with MySQL, not with LabWare LIMS. I have worked in different applications, but when it comes to database, SQL Server is my experience working with SQL Server is it is very lightweight application, and the database data is accessed very quickly from SQL Server compared to any other application. MySQL, yes, definitely it gives a good competition to SQL Server, but then being a free software, MySQL support, you do not get much support. If you face any technical challenge in MySQL, then uh, it's not necessary that every time all the solutions will be available on the internet, or you need some expert who can help you. If the expert is not available, then you may face challenge in MySQL. But when it comes to SQL Server, any issue, all the answers are available easily on internet. And usually it's very rare situation when you are stuck into some issues, because this application is very user friendly and very stable. And then finally, LabWare should provide you with the database. They provide you database in the form of a export file, which is usually a backup file. So once all these prerequisites are ready, you can start with the installation process. And then these are the different setups which they provide. Okay, LabWare.NET support, Crystal runtime support, PDF component support file, NWA component. I don't know what is this, but you need to install. Spreadsheet support. Spreadsheets are widely used in within the application. So there is a separate setup for this. TX text control support. LAPI is one of the requirement of Crystal report. So I have been using Crystal report, I think more than 20 years as of date. 20 years ago, when I started using Crystal report, initially, since that day, this file need to be separately installed. And even as of today, even after you install the Crystal report, you have to copy this file separately. So we have specified a separate step for that. Java runtime environment, again, also we have to install. And then finally, SQL client. This is the SQL Server client, which is required to connect to the SQL Server database. Okay, so let us start with the installation process. Before we start installation, we need to verify the prerequisites are available or not. Okay, so let us start with the first one, which is the operating system OS. How will you verify the OS? Very simple. Simply go to my PC. My system doesn't support Teams. Okay, so if you want to verify what is the operating system of the server or your system or your PC, laptop, simply right click on this PC and select properties. Here in the Windows Edition section, you can find out the version of your operating system. In my case, it is Windows 10 Professional. Okay. First step is verified. Next, verify the .NET framework. How will you verify Microsoft .NET framework? You need to open the registry. See, just go to Start and click on Registry Editor. Type Registry Editor or simply type regedit, edit. Here, you need to browse to this location. Computer, local machine, software, Microsoft.NET Framework, and within 4, you can find if 4.5 is available, then here we have 4 till 4.8. So which means we have higher version compared to what is required. Our requirement is 4.5. So Microsoft.NET 4.5 is also available. Next, what is the next prerequisite? VC++ redistributable. That is available in the control panel. So go to Start, Control Panel, Programs. Programs. Microsoft. So we have, stop it. Okay, so we have VC++ 2022 and our requirement was 2017. If it is not available, you can install it. Okay. We have all the installations. We'll come to this in next step. Before that, we need to verify all the prerequisites. So VC++ is available. Our requirement is 14.16. This is 2017. VC++ redistributable 2017, 14.16. And what is installed is Microsoft. Where did it go? Yeah, sorry. We have a higher version, 14.34. Requirement was 14.16. Okay. SQL Server 2012. Again, control panel, programs, Microsoft SQL Server. We have 2022. So again, we have a higher version. Then Apache Tomcat. This is web server and it is required on the web server. And also again, sorry, the SQL server is required on the database server. In my case, I have installed everything on single server, but in practical environment, in industry environment, this will be on different servers. Microsoft VC++ will be on application DB as well as web server. SQL Server 2012 is required only on the database server, and Apache Tomcat 9.0. This is required only on the web server. Okay, so you need to remote login on the web server or as well as DB and the application server, and then verify all these settings. In our case, we are verifying this directly on the current system, local system. So again, control panel, browse above Apache Tomcat 9.0. So 9016, this version is very compatible along with labware LIMS 7. We have used higher version, we have used lower versions, but this seems to be working stable along with the current, labware 7 9016. I hope I've mentioned, yeah. So this version, wherever I have mentioned specifically, it means that this version works stable along with the labware 7. Okay, step number 4, verify SQL Server database backup file is restored on the database. Let us go directly on the database server. So I have SQL Server Management Studio also installed on this system. And this is a client software for SQL Server. If for those who don't know, this application is SQL Server Management Studio. It is a client software for SQL Server database software. To restore database, to access database, we use SQL Server Management Studio. So as of now, installation we have not started. We are just verifying the prerequisites. We verified operating system. We verified .NET Framework 4.5, Visual Microsoft VC++ redistributable. SQL Server has been installed or not. Apache Tomcat has been installed or not. Now, let us verify whether the back file, database file is available or not. Okay, so let me log in into the system. Okay, this is my database server. This is nothing but my client PC itself, the laptop on which I'm working right now. Okay, and you can see that there is only one database. The database file has been restored, which means the file which was provided by labware prerequisites. Where is my file, my file, my file? Yeah, so let the prerequisite folder. Yeah, so this zip file, it contains a back file of the complete database, and this back file has been restored and ready. So many versions. So this database file will be provided by labware. Along with the setups, you have to ensure that you restore it into the SQL Server database. So we have this ready. This is your prerequisite. Take help of your database team who can restore this for you. Or if you can do it yourself, well and good. So my database is also ready. Then finally, I need to verify whether the WAR file is also available or not. So now here, although I have mentioned that the WAR file should be copied to this C program files Apache, which will be available, this particular path will be available only if the Tomcat software is installed. Now we have already verified in the control panel, Apache Tomcat is installed. If this is installed, then this path will be available, and the path has to be specific. C program files and not program file 86. It is C program files Apache Tomcat web apps. This WAR file is web-based application which is provided by labware. You simply need to copy paste at this particular location. Okay, it is also your installation step. you have to stop the Tomcat services, but we will see that in the installation steps. So we first, at this stage, we just need to verify the file is available. Yes, the file is available. So all the prerequisites at this stage is verified. Okay, so we have verified all the prerequisites. Next, we will start with the installation process.
Very good question.
Yeah.
So the SQL Server file that you were talking about to be restored, that basically contains table structure of all the tables that are present in lab. That's
It
something.
will it will not just contain the table structure, but it will also contain some default information which is required for the application to run. Okay.
Okay.
So if I go back to here, so there are almost 400 to 500 tables which are required for which are part of your database. And like, say, let us try and access some table.
So basically, it will create all the default tables, views, and settings, as per the database from the database end
Yes,
in the current database, right? Okay.
yes, you are right. So basically, the back file is nothing but it's the complete uh, zipped format of the LIMS database. Okay.
Okay. Got it. Got it.
So if you simply check this table, so by default, they provide some users, default users, they will provide some roles, they will provide. So these are all part of the base database. And once the application is installed, then you can create your own users and groups. Okay.
Why do
Now,
we need the Apache Tomcat? Is it for the background service, or is it for publishing the application to the end users?
sorry, I
For
didn't
what
get your
purpose?
question. Your voice is breaking.
Just hold. Give me a minute. Is it better now? Sorry.
Sorry, it is still same. What about others?
Oh,
Can others clearly hear your voice?
Yes, hearing.
There's a resound in his
Audible.
like when he's
Okay,
speaking.
maybe some issue at my side. Sorry, please repeat your question.
yeah. Sorry. I was saying, why do we need the Apache Tomcat? Is it for the background service, or is it for publishing, the LabLMS application for all the end users?
Okay, very good question. There was so basically this, as you can see, our server is divided into three parts: application, DB or database, and the web server. Your Tomcat is nothing but your web server. Tomcat is your web server application. Okay. So
Okay.
if I want to access the application, I can directly run the exe. This is one way of accessing the application. Or second, I can run directly from this. This is one way of accessing LIMS. Or I can open the browser. Yeah. And I can, yeah, I can also access the application with the appropriate path. This is
Right.
possible. This will work only if your Tomcat is configured perfectly. Your web server is configured perfectly. So your Tomcat is your web server application.
Got it. So it is basically for making the LIMS available to the all the
Over
end
web
users.
browser. Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes. And
Otherwise,
just one. Mhm. Please go ahead.
yeah, nothing. If web server is not available, then you have to install LIMS in all your user client systems.
Right. That is what I was going for my next question. Like, if we don't have the Apache Tomcat, or if in case we, let's say, we don't want to use the browser version of it, right, the web version of it, Then
Yes.
I have seen LIMS being used over Citrix as well. So is it
That is also one
necessary
way.
in that?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, yes, that is also one way where you only install on the Citrix server and all the clients can access directly from that server. Yes, that is also one way.
Right. So we would only have to
Majority of,
install the client. Mhm.
hmm, sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying that we would only have to install the client on the Citrix server and make that available for all the users, right? So multiple users can
Yes,
access it simultaneously.
correct, correct.
Okay. Got it.
So Citrix is also used by larger organizations like I know Sun Pharma is using, Cipla, they are using Citrix servers, not Lupin as of date, although Lupin does have. What about in Johnson and Johnson? Are they using over browser or is it over Citrix server? Any idea, madam? Somebody is from Johnson.
In Pfizer, we can use Citrix. We
Okay,
use
Pfizer, they are using Citrix server. Okay, great. I never had an opportunity of working with Pfizer, neither I knew. So you did work with Pfizer?
yes, yes, Praveen.
Wonderful, great. So they are
J&J
using
mostly uses Citrix only.
Yeah, Citrix only they can use.
J&J also use Citrix. Okay, great.
Yes, sir.
Yes, wonderful.
So Praveen, are you aware of any other like publishing tools? Like one way is web browser, right? Another is Citrix.
Mhm.
Is AWS also an option? Does Labware
Uh,
support that?
yes, I think AWS can be used. I didn't had an opportunity to work with AWS environment, but I'm sure you can definitely use AWS also for this. Yes, definitely.
Have you
See,
ever seen
any
any other publishing? Any publishing can be used, right?
yes,
Please go
yes,
ahead.
any publishing system or enterprise tool can be used. Sun Pharma, they were before Citrix, they used to use another tool which I'm not aware of. Thin client systems, they had thin clients installed all over their laboratories, and all the client users they used to access the server, but I don't know which software it was. Later on, when they got merged along with Ranbaxy, Sun Pharma and Ranbaxy, they got merged in
Mhm.
2012 and afterwards. So after that, they switched it to Citrix.
Got it. Thank you, Praveen. Thank you.
So we have verified the prerequisite. Let us start with the installation. So installation is nothing but simply step by step. We need to install this 9 setups which is provided. So we can go to the setup folder. So this installer will be provided by Labware. You don't need to you simply need to install this one by one. So although I have installed, we will just install whichever is possible, whichever will allow me to install again. And if you are an IT administrator, you want to install this on any of the server, ensure that you have admin privileges. Okay. So this, since it is already installed, it will ask me to modify. Ensure the path is default path. Now here if you'll see the path is C program file x86. So which means our Labware LIMS is a 32-bit application. It is not 64-bit application. But when we installed Tomcat, it was in C program files and not program files x86. So your Tomcat was 64-bit, but Labware LIMS, it is a 32-bit application and it doesn't make any difference whether 32 or 64. Okay, so step 1 is done. What you need to ensure is only the path. Okay, next, Crystal Report runtime engine. So here, when you install Crystal Report runtime engine, you need to separately copy this, but I have made a separate step for that. So we'll skip this copying in this case, reinstall.
So Praveen, meanwhile it gets installed.
Hmm.
Uh, it was one of the prerequisites, right? So it has to be done at prerequisites as well and during the installation as well.
Uh, when I said prerequisite, it was actually Crystal Report software. This is only a Crystal Report runtime engine, which means this will not allow you to create a new Crystal Report or modify any existing Crystal Report. It will only allow you to run the report from application.
And Crystal Report, the software which is used for developing the Crystal reports, it's required for every environment. I mean, is it mandatory prerequisite? I mean, prerequisite itself means mandatory, but is it mandatory?
See, in any organization, you cannot proceed with only the default reports which is provided by Labware.
Right.
You have to configure, you have to design custom reports as per your organization needs. So you definitely need Crystal Report to design to design your custom reports.
Correct. Correct. So it's not basically a labware prerequisite. It is kind of, let's say,
Organization.
oh, yeah. Got it.
And it also depends whether what kind of deal you have with Labware. If Labware is ready to design all the custom reports, then you don't need Crystal Report in your organization.
Right.
But
Right. Got
usually,
it.
if you have SAP in your organization, then SAP comes along with Crystal Reports,
Got it.
or rather, the
The
other way
question
around.
was arising because I have seen in development environments that they have installed because normally the reports are developed in there, right? But validation in production environments doesn't have these. I mean, the Crystal Report developer tool. So they
Yes.
don't have
So
that. That is why I was asking.
right,
Yeah,
right.
I
So
understood.
it is only required in development where you actually design the reports. Validation or client or production, you only this Crystal Report runtime engine is required. This is sufficient.
Got it. Thank you.
So right now, it is not allowing me to install unless I remove this. So just it will take 5 minutes to remove and install it back. It is saying time remaining 1 second, and it's been almost 30 to 40 seconds.
IT struggles.
There is nothing going on in the background. Maybe this is stuck. Uh, Is something running? No. SAP. So this is how it is. Although simple, sometimes executing a simple setup may take longer time. So you have to be very patient. No, 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 no. Which one is this? There it is. I know it is not responding. Let us try closing one of the application. I want to save this. Okay, is it sufficient? No. Can I close the complete? Oh, why is it restart? I want to restart this. And
Maybe you can try right clicking and end process tree, the whole tree. Maybe that will help. That's not there.
I don't see the process option.
No.
Maximize and task. It requires restart, but I can't restart. Okay, let's try. I hope this won't restart my entire system. Where are we? Yeah, let us try to reinstall Crystal Report Runtime Engine. Okay, this is fresh. Accept. Another process is in. This should work. Okay, I accept. Yeah, we are good now. So sometimes simple setup gives you the biggest trouble. So right now what we are installing is the Crystal Report Runtime Engine. It will help you to generate reports from LIMS application, and all these reports which are designed using Crystal Report. Anybody has worked on Crystal Reports or seen Crystal Reports?
I
Anybody
have worked
else?
on.
Yeah. You have also designed reports or just
Yeah, I have designed reports.
wonderful? Great. So good thing you want to learn LabWare LIMS, because in LabWare LIMS all the reports are configured, designed in Crystal Reports. And I have worked with people who are engaged in only designing Crystal Reports. I mean, not just for LabWare LIMS, but also for SAP. So there are Crystal Report designers who are full time. Their job is to design or modify report for the organization. New requirements come up, they keep on designing reports.
Yeah, it's a huge task, kind of. It takes a lot of effort.
See, right now what we saw, it is the same story. It looks simple, but it is not.
Right.
Designing reports is I have designed so many reports. It looks so simple when the outcome comes out, but no, the designing the report is really complex activity.
Right. So, Ruben, all these steps that you're telling will be implemented on both the application server and the web server, or
Yeah, so I have mentioned it clearly here.
okay,
What
okay.
will be installed on which server? So right now we are executing this step by step. And as you can see, I have mentioned, if you are installing this on application server, or say if you are installing it on any of the client system. When I say client machine, uh, these are those systems where user will be, this is user PC, user laptop. If
Got it.
that is the case, then you need to install this. But there
Got
are
it.
some other tools which need to be installed only on the web server.
Web server. Makes sense.
Ravi,
Yeah,
these crystal reports only used for LIMS installation, right? or else any other uses for this one?
Sorry, I didn't completely understood your question. So you want to know whether the crystal report is used only for labware LIMS or it
And
can
that,
be used?
yeah.
Yeah, so crystal report is a third-party software. It is a reporting tool. It is used for designing reports, and yes, it is not meant specifically for labware LIMS. It can be used for any other application,
Mm-hmm.
and it is widely used along with SAP. All the reports of SAP are designed in crystal report. I hope everybody knows what is SAP.
System application programming, right?
It is enterprise tool. I don't know what is the full form here. What was
In
that?
pharma means system application
And
programming in
enterprise resource
pharma.
tool. Full form system applications and products, I believe.
Okay.
It's an ERP tool which is used to operate whole
Yes.
operations.
So it is
In
an
pharma
ERP.
industry, this SAP crystal reports like we use it that indent of materials like
Yes.
coding
Yes.
system that.
Yes. Yes. So SAP basically is used by almost each and every department, right
Mm.
from HR to finance to commercials to supply chain. QM is used by laboratories. So your entire LIMS
And in
is
manufacturing as well. Right.
obviously, yes, in manufacturing. I think this is going to give me trouble. Is it because I have copied some file? Be the case. Move from here. Oh, sorry, this was it. Mhm. So I think this is installed. It was stuck in the end stage. And I can see all the components are also available. So this crystal report application is also installed. Let us go to next step. This is PDF component. Let us try installing that. Installer PDF component. Once. Again, need to verify the path is the default path, which is 32-bit. That is C program files x86. Next. It should work. Yeah, now this thing will require restarting, so I'm not going to restart. If I install this, see guys, I have already installed all this and you can find that in the control panel. There are some tools which requires a restart. So I'm not going to install that. If we install PDF component and which is followed by NWA component. So this is both required by labware application. If I install this now, it will restart my PC. So I'm going to skip this, but we have to verify whether the system, whether the tool or this utility is already installed or not. So we can verify that in the programs. NWA component. Let's see. So this NWA component and PDF component both are available. So we are not going to, I'm not going to install this again because it will restart the system. Spreadsheet support, yes, no issues. Let us install this quickly. Repair. Again, ensure the path is C program files x86 and done. Lever TX text control support. Is it done? Maybe it is done. TX support, TX support. .NET support, PDF support, NWA component, spreadsheet, no TX support. Let's try again. So where is the process? Okay. Program files x86, labware, and TX. Okay. So let us assume this one is installed. I don't know whether it's installed or not. Yeah. So this particular file need to be copied to a specific path Where is it supposed to be copied? So we completed this component setup, SSG or spreadsheet set support, not setup support, TX text control support. Yeah, you need to copy this DLL file, and this DLL is required by Crystal Reports runtime engine, and ensure it is copied to this path. Okay, so the original support, it will contain a different file, so you better copy this and copy paste it to C program files x86 SCP business objects common, again business objects in 32. Yeah, U2LEPI. Yeah, this is the one. Okay, so we need this step need to be done manually. The file need to be copied separately. Go back to setup. This is done. Java runtime environment, not going to execute this. This will require restart. So sorry, we are here. So once we copy the DLL file to its required location, next is to install Java runtime environment and SQL Server native client. So Java runtime environment, this is also to be installed on the web server. Okay. Rest whatever I'm writing is on application and database server or the client machine. But Java runtime environment, it is required only on the web server. Next, SQL native client. This is required to connect to database server from the application. Okay. So once you install all these 9 setup, what you need next, what you need to do is this particular application folder is provided by Labware team along with the war file and the database back file. War file will be, it will come in next step. So let us see where we have placed this particular folder. So never ever you, so consider this is on the application server, never use C drive. Okay, because this particular folder of Labware, it can be on D drive or E drive, but avoid using it on the C drive because keep the C drive for your operating system. Keep it for your Windows. So let us not disturb that. I have used E drive. I created one Labware folder. EPR is nothing but enterprise. And then this folder is provided by Labware. Ensure you have the reports and server folder inside. Server folder contains all the configuration files and report stores all the reports. These are all Crystal report files. Okay, so once this folder is available, then 90% of your installation is done. You have installed all the required setup, ensured all the prerequisite. Now you copied the pharma solution folder. This license file, next is the license file, which is your organization specific license file, which will be provided by Labware. Ensure that you copy this in pharma solution folder inside the server folder. Okay, so this step, once this step is done, finally you need to create one ODBC. This ODBC is used to connect database. Your LIMS will be able to connect to database using this ODBC. How we are creating this? We go to control panel. Okay. So when you open control panel, search for ODBC. Select ODBC data source 32. Okay. Go to system DSN, and I have already created, but we'll create new. Select SQL Server native client 11. This was one of the installation setup. Select that, click on finish. Then give a name to your data source, LIMS. Okay, description not mandatory. Server will be, you can get the exact name. Either you can specify the IP address, only the IP address, or in my case, I don't have any IP address, so I need to find the host name. So one benefit of installing SQL Management Studio is it will automatically find the host name and the server connection string. It will create connection string automatically for you. So right now I don't know the host name of my system, so I will use the name which is provided to me by SQL Management Studio. So just give me 1 minute. If you are installing this in your organization, and if you click on this, it will search your entire network. Wherever the SQL server is installed, it will get those names for you. And this may sometimes hang. In my case, I have only one server, so I simply clicked here, but it didn't find the name for me. So I have to use SQL Studio. Can get the name from here also. Just to save time, I'm going to go to the admin window. Yeah, here. Okay. Yeah, this is our server name. Okay. This is nothing but just the host name of my PC or laptop. And since I'm using SQL Express, in case of SQL Express, it is SQL Express is mandatory mentioned along with the host name. Okay. If you are using, in case of your organization, you just simply need to mention the IP address of the DB server. Okay. So where was I? Setup. Yes. So which server? My local server and database is SQL Express. Or in case of your organization, simply mention the IP address of DB server. Okay. This is SQL Server specific username and password. So we have LIMS and labware. One, two, three. Okay. If your credentials are okay, you can get the name of the database from the server. This one is done. Okay. No need to change anything here. Test. If everything is correct, it will say test completed successfully. Click OK. Okay. Your connection is ready. So this will be used by labware LIMS to connect to database. We have already created one and we have also configured that. So okay, so step 12, create an ODBC. This step is done. Now, next, what we need to do is go to the pharma solution folder. There you will find one labware exe. This will be within the server folder. Just create a shortcut on the desktop. So I've already created. What we need to ensure here is the exe path is correct. Ensure that this path is correct and the target path is correct. Okay, so let us see how it is done. So I am into my pharma solution folder. I go to the server folder, search for labware exe. So this is your exe file, which will be used to execute or run the application or access the application. So I have created one shortcut here, and in the shortcut, just verify two things. Open the properties and verify the exe path is correct or not. So our path is E drive, labware enterprise, pharma solution server, and labware.exe. Here I have given some additional parameters. Terminal server 0. Not mandatory, but yes, this is recommended by labware. Okay, and now this starting path. This is important. See, this is also in your labware enterprise folder, but this is in your client folder. So when I say client users and I have specified this particular folder, so what will happen is, let us browse to this folder. Oh, what is this? TX text control. Finally. So finally, our TX text control support is also installed. Okay, so where was my starting? Once again, our starting path is not server. My exe path is server here, but my starting path is client. And this is very important. So I go into client folder, users, and there is one specific folder defined. So why this is important is whenever I'm using the application, all these logs will be generated. And as an IT administrator, if the user is facing any issue, he can verify, he can come, he can investigate the errors, he can investigate all his activities in this particular folder. So if he is facing any error, you can check for those error in this error file. Okay, or if any database related error he is facing, then that last database query will be available from DB log and so on. Multiple, some message he is receiving, that message will be available in message log, report log will be in some RPT log. Every single report will generate a report log. Okay, so date wise you can check which was the latest file, and then accordingly you can find out what issue the user is facing. So this client folder is very important. Okay, you specify server exe path, you specify the client path, and then you are ready to start the application.
Very
So
quick
next,
question.
yes.
So in an organization where there are lots of users, right, like thousands of them, right, is it possible to kind of have different folders for different users? And if yes, then how can I achieve that?
Very good. So basically, right now what we are seeing is I am installing the application on the user system, which means I have installed this on the user's laptop or user's PC. In this case, every individual client folder will be available in his own PC or laptop. But in case of web users, we specify different path. So those cluster manager, this we will come to this.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. Then it's right. We can take care of that.
Yeah. So basically, when you are configuring the web server, during that you specify this instances. We'll see in next step.
Okay.
Sometimes it doesn't respond. Okay. So in step number 13, we have created a shortcut of the exe on the desktop. Now what we'll do is we'll start the application and then we'll browse to main menu, configure system and server, which means you have not yet logged into the application. Before login, you have to configure the server. So let us do this. So I have started the application. I browse to configure system and server. Okay, so here you should know what is the password of the database. So my database login and password is labware 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So this is your connection settings. Okay, I specify a logical name for this system. Okay, this is my desktop. I specified the path. Okay, this is nothing but the client path. It will pick up this path from the properties itself. Whatever we specified there, it will automatically pick up the path. Okay, database credentials, username LIMS, and database password. Okay, why is this gone? Okay, network type will always be TCP IP, and ODBC you need to select from the list. So we created LIMS Connect now. We can use that also. Okay, LIMS Connect. Rest is default. No need to change anything. So what we selected here, we selected the path specified logical name for this particular setup, specified database, your credentials, username, password. Okay, TCP IP is the network type we selected. And then finally we selected the ODBC name. Okay, once this configuration is done, just for safety, you can restart the application because you have reconfigured the server settings. Writing structure to disk. Okay, since we modified the configuration, it is writing this configuration. It also saves in the server folder. So that is why it is taking some time. Okay, it also rebuild the configurations. Now we are good to log in into the application. Okay, so by default, a system user is available. Username is system. Password is manager, MANAGER, all in small. So this default user is present, available with the application. So simply log in into this using system and manager credential. So finally, your application is ready. Now you can start with the basic configurations. Okay, these are dashboards. So we can see there are two different dashboards. You can design any number of dashboards using the visual workflow utility. Okay. Some dashboards are by default available, not some, but a lot of dashboards are provided by Labware themselves. Besides them, if you want to customize any dashboards, you can create. Okay, so before we go proceed, step number 14 is complete. Next, you need to, okay, so this also 15 number step also we completed. Here we configured the server connection, server configurations. This we completed. First thing, when you log into the application, you need to ensure that your external directories are configured correct. Okay, you need to specify where the reports are present. I mean, all the crystal reports, wherever they are present, your static data, dynamic data folder, and the visual workflow files. So let us do this. Simply go to configure and select external link directories. Click on reports. So this is the path of my reports folder. Just verify the path. eDrive, Labware EPR, Pharma Solutions, and reports folder. All the RPT files or crystal report files are present here. So ensure this path is correct. If this path is not correct, none of the reports will work. So first and foremost, verify the reports. Specify a path for static data. This will be on the application server, or it can be a separate file server. You can create a separate file server and then you can give a shared path. In my case, we are using the same server, same path, local drive. I mean, it can be shared path also, because as and when the operations start working, some PDF files are stored on this server. Okay, so static data will store all the static files. We will see this in master data configuration section. When you're creating masters, all the static masters attachments will be stored in this folder. And similarly, you have dynamic data folder. In this folder, during the operations, so when the user is executing some data, when the user has logged some sample, made some attachments, those runtime data that will be stored in the dynamic folder. Okay, so basically static data is nothing but your masters, attachments related to your masters. Where is this? Yeah. And dynamic data is nothing but your operational data, attachments related to operational data. For example, when you create users, okay, your user is also a master list. So when you create users, you may attach his say certificate. Okay, there may be some attachments for user master. So those are static. Okay, but dynamic is your operational data. This is all the tests and analysis which is performed in laboratory. And during that, if you want to attach any results, so some PDF report was generated by instrument and then you have to attach that data. So those files will be stored in dynamic data folder. Visual workflow files, very important. You need to specify the path of this folder. And this contains configurations of all your visual workflow. And visual workflow is nothing but your the tool which is meant to design this dashboard. So now the dashboard which is visible here is visible perfectly because this path is defined properly. If the path is not proper, your visual workflow directory is not defined properly, then this particular dashboard will not work properly. All the icons, it is possible that the icons will not appear, or sometimes the alignment may be changed. So why this is working perfectly? Because the visual workflow path is defined properly. And this is also in the server folder, so no need to worry. This is in the same pharma solution folder, server folder, common visual workflow. Default path, which is provided by Labware. Okay, so external link directories, first and foremost, you need to verify that this path are defined perfectly. Okay. So step number 17 done. Next, manage tables. And here we will 18, step number 18, 19, 20, and 21. We are going to configure cluster manager. CM stands for cluster manager. So here we will be configuring cluster manager service, cluster manager machine, and cluster manager instances. Cluster manager service is the base service which holds the uh, path of the executable and the work directory. So what is basically a cluster manager? Cluster means a group of users. So this is the setting which will verify, which will handle multiple users in the who are accessing the application via web, via browser. So until unless this configuration is present, nobody will be able to log in via web browser. Okay, so let us see how cluster manager, cluster CM service, CM machine, and CM instance is configured and what is its purpose. So here I browse to, okay, configure, manage tables. This is my table manager. It holds all the tables, including users, including analysis master, including product masters. Each and every table is master table is available in the table folder. So manage tables and we open CM, sorry. First and foremost, CM service. Okay. To create any, so this is my new entry. If I want to create any new, I need to specify a name, say CM web CM, which means this is my web service. Okay. Service type, by default, it is web. Okay. Maximum number of users who can log in using this web. This depends upon the license. If I have a license of say 100 users, then it can accept maximum 100. It can be lower but not higher than. Okay. Minimum instance, say 5, I can specify. Maximum instance, say 20. Now, okay, sorry. So this is not the maximum. This is the maximum. One instance, only one user can log in. It allows multiple users to use single instance, but we never recommend using more users using the same instance. So always one user per instance, minimum 5 and maximum 20, which means this cluster manager, this web service will allow only maximum 20 users to simultaneously log in into the application. And minimum 5 means whenever we start this web service, it will be ready for the 5 users to log in, which means it will create 5 different folders ready. It will start 5 different services ready, whether 5 users have logged in or not. But when you start this service, it will be ready with 5 services, 5 different folders. Okay, where is this folder? So I'm going to skip this. Yeah. So here, So I have a license of say 80. So I can maximum 80 can be allowed on this. Here we will specify the path of the exe. Now this is again the same configuration which we configured on the desktop. If you remember the shortcut which we created here, there are two configurations you need to verify: the path of the exe and the client path. The same you need to configure here for your cluster manager service, the path of your exe, okay, and the client path. Now my client path is client CM service. If you'll see on the server, form a solution, client and CM service. This is my path. And here you can see multiple folders are there. Why? Because individual user, whenever he logs in, an individual folder will be created and allotted to him, and all his logs will be generated in this folder. Whenever web user logs in, individual folder will be, individual ID will be assigned to him, and individual folder will be assigned to him. So when we say here minimum instance 6, so when this service starts, 6 folders will be ready. So whenever 6 users will log in, they will be immediately assigned these folders. But when the 7th user logs in, then what will happen is his login will be little bit slow because the folder is being created. Some default files will be copied in this folder. So his login will take some time. But these 6 users will face immediate login because all the required their folder is ready. All the required configuration files are ready in this folder. So that is the benefit of this minimum instance. Okay, so I have specified the exe path, I have specified the client path. Okay, I have ensured that this particular web service is enabled. Okay, default configuration, default parameter for this exe. Okay, and then instance timeout, currently not in use, it was used earlier. 300 seconds, which means 5 minutes. This session will remain, if kept idle for 5 minutes, it will be automatically logged out. But this is currently not in use. There is different configuration. We will see that in the user management section. So you have verified, you have configured the service type, minimum, maximum instance. You have specified the exe path, you have specified the client path, and you have enabled this service. Okay, so your web service is ready. Next, CM machine. Let us open CM machine. So once your CM service has been created, you will create CM machine. Okay, so I have created, I have given it a name, CM1, cluster manager 1. Okay, now what does CM machine does? Your CM service is single service which is applicable for all the application servers. Now Labware can have multiple application servers. In that case, you can create, you need to create multiple CM machines. So this is my single application server. Okay, I need to specify the IP address. In my case, there is no IP, there is only localhost. You need to specify the port number range. So every individual user will be, whenever he logs in, he will be assigned a unique port number. So in order to log in, we need two things: IP address and port number. Okay, so this is a range of 20 port numbers because maximum one application server, as per Labware, one server can comfortably accommodate only 20 simultaneous users. If there are 100 users, you need 5 application servers. One application server cannot manage more than 20 users. You can configure this to 40, but there is a chance that the application server may hang and all the users activity will be lost in between. So it's recommended that one application server, only maximum 20 users, simultaneous users can be allowed. Okay. Finally, the service which was created in CM service table, you select this from the list. Okay. So there are two web service CM service created. I have assigned the PSV52. Okay. So you get the list of all the services. You select whichever you want and assign it. So ensure the service will be same for all the machines. You can create multiple machines. Let us say I create CM5. Okay. Host can be CM1. Right now what I did was I used this save as option. I made a copy of CM1. So all the settings are same. I can specify some another IP address. This is the IP address of the application server. Second application server. 1.102. Dummy I'm saying. Port number has to be different. If I have specified 5511 for the first CM machine, I need to specify some another number here, 5611. 5612. This is to ensure that every individual user is assigned an individual port number. Enabled, maximum 20. Now the service is same. I have two machines, two application servers, but the IP address will be different for both. Port numbers, range of port number will be different, but the service is same. So your cluster manager service is single service, but you have multiple application servers. Okay, so this is how you can create multiple machines, multiple application servers. And then finally, you have CM instances. Again, you specify the service name. Okay, specify. CM's instance is nothing but it is a replica of your cluster manager. And this will be created automatically. I don't think you need to create this. Yeah, I don't think means you don't need to create this. This will be created automatically when the application runs. By default, you can create one, but even if you don't create, this will be automatically created by the application. So let us not spend much time here. So CM machine, CM service, and instance. Using these three tables, your web server will be able to manage multiple users. Okay. Now, once your CM machine, CM service, and CM instance is ready, you can start configuration on the web server. Okay. So we will log on the web server and sorry. You need to log on the web server and Tomcat, which is installed, stop the service. So this is our same web server. How we are going to stop the service? I go to services. Okay. Search for Apache Tomcat 9.0, which is currently running. Just right click on this and select stop, or simply there is a stop option available. Okay, so now this is not running. Then next. Okay. So once you have stopped the Tomcat services, you browse to web apps folder within Tomcat and then copy paste the LIMS war file. LIMS war file is provided by Labware. Just browse to the installer folder prerequisites. You can find war file. Okay. Just copy this war file. Go to Apache folder, which is specifically C drive program files, Apache, Tomcat, and you can find the web apps folder. Simply copy the war file here. When you copy the war file and when you start the services again, this LIMS folder will be created. By default, you will find only the docs, host manager, manager, and the root folder. But when you copy this war file here and you start the services, then this folder, LIMS folder, will be created. Okay. Start the services. Now your Apache Tomcat is running. So as soon as you start, this folder will be created and you will be ready to access LIMS application. How do you access? This will be okay. You access by just simply typing http:// IP address of the web server. Either you type IP address or web server, or in my case, since I am directly on the web server, I can simply write down localhost. Okay. And this is the default port number which is used by Tomcat 8080. Enter. So what we did, simply IP address of host server :8080. This should take us to the Tomcat web page if the Tomcat service is running. Since we have just simply started now, it will take just say 1 minute or so. Okay, so my Tomcat is now running. Now to access our LIMS page, I will write down /lims/login.html. This is the default path of any Labware LIMS over the web browser. So you will get your login page, but you won't be able to log in because you have not configured the web server. So before login, you need to go to the admin web console. So what I've done is, see, this LIMS is the folder name of the war file. Okay, just ensure that this is the folder, LIMS folder. It can be a different name. If it is so, then write the exact name. In our case, it is LIMS, so I've written simply LIMS, admin, and login. So this will take us to the admin login page. Here only one login will work, that is system and manager. Okay, so I have already created the JDBC connection. So here we can see I have created one JDBC connection, given it a name. You can give any name. Specify this URL. This is JDBC URL, universal JDBC connection string. Okay. This is not specific to labware. This is Java ODBC connection string, JDBC colon SQL server, then your IP address, or in my case, hostname slash SQL Express. Again, this is the same which is used to create our ODBC, or I use this to connect to my database. So this is the server name. Okay. Same name has been used here. What is my database name? My LIMS. Let us verify the database name, username and password. Yeah. So my database name is my underscore limbs. So we have specified the server name and the database name here in JDBC URL connection. Driver, this is standard com Microsoft SQL Server JDBC. Username, password of database, and my service name. This is the same service which we created, cluster manager service. This is the web service which we created, not the cluster manager. Let us check this web service. Again, go to configure, manage tables, web service. Okay. Mhm. So this is the same cluster manager service which we created, no other service. PSV5 underscore 2. So this is the service which will be used by the Tomcat server or the web server. And it will use the same exe and it will specify the same path. Okay. I was just verifying whether it is not any other service. Yes, it is the same CM service which we created. And this single service, it will always be single service. There can be multiple application server, but your CM service, your CM cluster manager service will be single, always single. So we specified the service name and test connection successful. 5 instances are available. So once you have configured this, you are ready to log in via the web server also. Let us verify here. Localhost. There is some configuration still pending here, so we may not be able to log in, but I'll fix the issue tomorrow. Let me try if it is possible. System manager. It doesn't usually take so much time. It should allow to log in if all the configuration is perfect. So I'm stuck here. Maybe some configuration is still need to be verified here. But The point is you will get the exact screen, exact dashboard, everything on Chrome. If not today, we will continue this tomorrow. Okay. Now, final step, what you need to do is final configuration. So completed this step, war file has been copied, Tomcat service started. Okay, web admin console page accessed and JDBC connection configured. Now, next final step is to create a service in the form of a task scheduler. So what we'll do here is we'll log on onto the application server and open task scheduler. So suppose I'm already on my application server. I go to start menu and write task scheduler. So this is nothing but Windows task scheduler. Select the task schedule library. Create a new task. I've already created one which is running. I'll create new LW LIMS 2. Okay. Select run whether the user is logged or not, which means as and when this particular server boots up, your service will start running, which will allow web users to connect. How? We will see this. So ensure you also select run with highest privileges. Trigger. So when this particular event will trigger, as and when the system starts. So we need to select appropriate option. Start this when the system starts. So as soon as our system starts, this particular event will be triggered. And what action will be performed? It is the same exe. Just select the same exe file from server folder. Browse to server folder, select labware.exe. Okay. And give the same ts equal to 0 and start in folder. Just simply copy that start in folder from, yeah, this is also okay. What we are doing here is we specified the exe path, parameter for this exe, and then we specified the, I think CM also need to be specified. Just a minute. Okay. Web service need to be specified here. Okay. WS equal to PSV5 underscore 2. So this is the web service which we created. WS stands for web service. TS stands for terminal server. This is the web service which we created. Okay, client, the path, client path specified. Okay. So this exe will run as and when the application, this server is started or booted. Okay, any other condition not required. Keep it default. Okay, admin password. That's it. So your service is run. Your service is ready. So this is nothing but a web service which will execute in the background. And as and when this particular system starts, this service will start. And if and only if this service is running, then you will be able to log in via the web server. There is some configuration where I'm stuck. We will ensure that tomorrow when we connect, same time, 8 o'clock, we will be ready to log in with web server also. Okay, so I'm going to stop today here. So we have seen what are the prerequisites of installing labware LIMS. We have seen which all setup is required to install labware LIMS. Okay, what are the basic configurations required to install for user to start login into the labware LIMS? Okay, uh, what are the basic configuration for web server? Tomorrow we will see how to create users and what are the basic configuration for user, what are the different types of roles, group and privileges, and also what are the policies, how you can create different types of policies for users to follow these policies to ensure that user do not deviate from any of their assigned policies. So we'll see all this tomorrow in user management module. So this was regarding the installation module. One part which is pending, we'll complete it tomorrow. Okay. I
Okay.
hope, yeah, I hope everybody is available. Nobody is asleep. This may be a little bit uh, boring for the functional team, LIMS admin team. But if you understand, it is very simple. If you don't, it may get complex.
Praveen, a quick question.
Yes.
So if we decide that we will have like multiple cluster application servers basically,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So let's say we have an application server number two, right? So we will define it in crystal machine, right? Like this is our application server. So on that particular application server, all the prerequisite and all the installation of
Yes.
labware has to be done, right?
Yes. Yes. Very good question. If you have two different application server, the exe path has to be same. If it is E drive on first server, it has to be E drive on the second server. All the prerequisite should be present on the second server, and all the setup, the 9 setup which we run today, that also need to be executed on that particular server.
Okay. And how? Uh,
Mhm.
okay, I got it. That's fine. And one more question. There was a parameter like startup parameters when we defined the service and the machine itself.
Yes.
Are the are those parameters similar to like we have the parameters for any Windows service or
It is similar for both the application server. It will not vary. It is standard parameter which is provided by Labware.
okay,
I never bothered to understand the purpose of that, but yes, I will try and get the purpose from one of my colleague.
sure,
Let
sure.
me
Thank you.
ask
That will be
someone
great.
to verify that. Yeah.
Sure, sure. That will be great. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Any other queries from anyone?
Sir, I want to ask you how we can merge labware with the SAP. Can we merge? Because suppose one company have some system in SAP,
Mhm.
like warehouse, then laboratory, then
Mhm.
production. We can merge how?
Okay, so you are saying that already all the masters are available in SAP
SAP,
QM
yes,
module,
yes, yes, yes.
and now you want to implement Labware LIMS.
Ha, ha, yes, yes.
Um, ठीक है,
But
some master. I don't think it is possible to migrate or transfer all the data from
Mhm.
SAP to level LIMS. Okay,
Mhm.
see, even if possible, you may transfer user list of instruments from SAP
Mhm.
to level LIMS,
Yes,
but not each and every masters because the table structure is completely different compared to SAP and level LIMS.
yes, yes,
Yeah. So
yes, yes.
what you can do is you can create some SQL query. You can ask your SAP team to,
Mhm.
to migrate the data from SAP in the form of some text file or CSV file or
Okay,
XML file, and then you can import that data into lab values,
okay, okay. Thank you, sir.
which will be equally
Praveen, a lot of company.
yeah.
I say that a lot of companies actually integrate the QM module with
Mhm.
the LIMS system. So is that what you're talking about when
Uh,
Mehman Jabbar asked?
I'm really sorry, but I
Or
haven't seen any example or any experience of integration with QM module and lab LIMS.
okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yes,
But
but
when
we
no right
actually
now,
in my previous company they were actually integrating QM with LIMS. Maybe it's not lab LIMS, but actual LIMS, where
yeah,
the
but
samples
if
from manufacturing are sent to the lab, and this sample testing is done in the laboratory, and the results are posted from LIMS back to QM module in SAP.
okay, so there are two different things we are discussing here. Okay, so result posting or result punching into SAP is totally different.
yes, this is the certificate of analysis and like this result
Yes, yes.
recording.
Your final COA or
Yes, yes, this
certificate
is
of
different.
analysis is generated from SAP.
Yes, yes.
So those results need to be transferred to from labware to SAP, the QM module, and which is yes, it is part and part of your integration. You have to transfer data, and that is only integration part. But what
Okay,
original query was, currently they are using all the masters and everything is in QM module, and they want to now transfer everything to LabWare LIMS. So that is a total bigger picture. But yes, this integration with SAP is part and parcel of LabWare LIMS, where your final results need to be transferred to SAP.
okay.
And then finally your COA will be generated from SAP and
Yes, yes, yes.
will be. So that integration is definitely done. Web services are used for integrating with SAP.
And when we will generating the means, I don't know about anything about LIMS.
Mhm.
I want to ask you about the crystal report. So when the crystal report generated from the
Mhm.
LIMS, so
Mhm.
there is a paperless work, everything.
Paperless in the sense?
So right now we have too many document. We have to maintain the logbook and everything. In pharmaceutical, you know. So
Yes,
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 that's
yes,
what I
yes.
want to ask you.
I understood. Yeah.
Yes.
So when we are using LabWare LIMS, all the logs,
Hmm.
majority of the logs
Hmm.
which currently you are maintaining on paper-based logbook,
Yes,
that will
yes,
be
yes.
eliminated. Those will be eliminated. Many
Hmm.
logbooks from laboratory will be eliminated because those digital logs are available in LabWare LIMS, which you can generate anytime you want, which you can take hard copy or you can convert into PDF. This crystal
Okay.
report you can directly convert into PDF, or if you want, you can take hard copy for reference.
Okay. When actually we
Sorry,
are
sir.
go for the okay.
But sir, we are using the for entry.
You are using for entry means
When we
Uh,
start the testing, at the same time we enter which type of product we are, which type of testing we are done right now. So we enter the things, and then we simultaneously enter in the LIMS.
hmm. Yes.
No, actually, what happened that we are suppose some material coming, suppose raw material come, then we will enter in the logbook. Okay, then this again we will enter in the LIMS, right? Like this, or directly. Suppose one material coming, directly we will enter in the LIMS and it will be save a log as a.
I think Charan can help me here.
Yes, sir. I will answer this question. Hi, Sheetal and Jabbar. So
Yes.
regarding raw materials and on the packing materials, so here when we got the consignment, we need to assign everything in the SAP. So then we need to
Yes.
generate a SAP batch number.
Yes.
So that
right.
SAP batch number will get interlinked to the or LIMS batch number. So whenever you request some material, so your QA will approve it. Then the reconciliation will be done in SAP. And from there, you will get the reconciliation amount into the LIMS. You will perform the testing and you will get the results. The CO, you will generate a COA, and the COA, you will, I mean, it will be come into the SAP. Based on that SAP, based on the COA, you can release the lot.
Okay, so,
So
means there is an integration. We can make it integration with the SAP and the LIMS.
yeah, definitely we have to do integration.
Okay.
Because even in the lab where, I mean, in the analysis and product fields, there are separate tabs for SAP entries.
Yes. Tab is available.
Some tabs will be there for SAP.
Okay,
So that SAP details will come into the, after integration. The SAP details will fetch into the LIMS.
Okay. Means whole warehouse work will be fetching in the LIMS, right?
Yes. From SAP, it will get into the LIMS.
Okay.
So all the warehouse things, you need to put it in the SAP.
Okay. So many inventory, everything means planning and this will be available in warehouse. Everything will be.
Yes, everything will be available.
Okay. Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Any more doubts?
I mean, just one quick question. Since we are talking a lot about interfaces, right? Would we be covering the interfaces in any of the upcoming sessions, or that is like out of the
Yeah.
syllabus for this course?
There is one session dedicated for interfacing.
Okay, great.
But majority we will be covering only PDF integration and normal text file integration. SAP, how we are integrating using web services, I will give a brief about that. But since I don't have SAP, I cannot demonstrate that. I'm sorry.
Okay. Understood. Thank you.
Praveen, so
Yeah.
after this completion of classes, are you provide any notes and PDF these belong to this course?
You can connect with Sheetal Madam from Company Connecting. I'm sure she will be able to provide you the presentations in PDF form. You can request to that.
Okay.
And recordings of this will be available to you tomorrow. You can access that for a quite long, I mean, I don't know, some 6 months or something you will be able to access. Sorry, I'm not sure how for how long you will be able to access.
Okay.
Yep. Are we good to close for the day?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Praveen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Praveen.
Thanks
Thank you,
everyone.
Charan.
See you tomorrow, 8 o'clock.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good night.
Thank you.
Okay,
Night.
bye.
Good night.
Take care. Good night.